Good morning, and my apologies for being late. Um, Things are beyond my control. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host to How to Fight CPS, and also hang on to your children. I give a warm hello out there. Um, I seem to lost our guest. We had a guest scheduled, and I apologize to the guest, whoever that guest was. Um, my show producer has disappeared, but she had other things that I guess she has to do. Um, I want to tell you that I'm a family man. I'm a father of six, and I've been in CPS just like you guys have. Um, I'm still hooking up my computer here. Uh, so, uh, excuse me, do these plugs work over here? Hello? Do these plugs work over here?
Yes, is it?
Do the plugs work?
Yeah, they should.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm still hooking up here. Hopefully the plugs will work. No, got no power. Nope, no power. Oh boy, got no power here. Um, Let me see where I can get my power. Nope, there's no power here. I'm going to drop off for 1 second here. Sorry for the interruption. I had to get power and I just wasn't getting power there. Let me see if I got power now. Oh, good grief. I should have power now. I had to plug into where the existing computer is. Okay, yeah. Apparently, these plugs on the wall don't work. What they're trying to do is, I guess, they're trying to prevent people that need access to the Wi-Fi. It's crazy what this world's come into. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. I don't see anybody in the room. Let me get a hold of Paige. I gotta go, Sky. Bye. Love you. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can get Faye. I don't know if she gets a notification or not. Okay. Okay. No, I don't want that. Okay. Um, I should have power there. Faye is a great woman from Richmond, Kentucky, who's helped me with this show, and I was trying to get her on so she can tell me if she can hear me or not. Danielle, my co-host, has had computer problems, and I've not heard from her. Okay. I guess my phone is now working. Okay, good. The phone is correct. All right. Hopefully, y'all can see me. Not too close to the screen. I'll try not to. I was trying to read the fonts. My reading glasses are broken. Unfortunately, I don't have a budget for reading glasses. Took me months to get a new headphone set. And with everything else in my life, I'm trying to get my car fixed. That's the reason why I'm so mobile a lot lately. I'm on this podcast twice a day at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes I am late, only because the places where I do my podcasts, they don't have the hookup. They're too noisy. They don't have power. I guess Starbucks and FedEx are trying to steer people away from using their facilities. Um, Otherwise, I do it from home, which I was doing into my car. Uh, is having problems with the local police there, so I can't park the car there. So during the day, I have to park at shopping centers or someplace where it's off public parking. And so the private shopping centers, those things, it's okay to park there. So again, I do apologize for the guest. I don't know who the guest was. And um, I'm trying to contact my showbiz. Uh, Hopefully, you all can hear me. If you can, just put a thumbs up or whatever you're doing there. Um, okay, we have two people, or three people, four people. Good. People are starting to come in. And I'd like to tell you about how to work the podcast. I see a shadow in my screen. I wonder how maybe the lighting's bad. I don't know. Um, but um, let me see if I can. Oh, that's the wrong trying to use there. Okay. A couple things of how to interact with this podcast. Um, One, you can text comments in. It's a live podcast. You found us on Facebook. I am broadcasting YouTube using the um, StreamYard application. The StreamYard application. Okay. Um, when you're texting a comment, please stick to CPS questions. We got to keep this room with CPS. That's for the Child Protection System. Now, why I call it the Child Protection System is because every state will have their own acronym. California's Child Protection Service, CPS. Arizona's Department of Children's Services, DCS. So every state will have their own acronym. But when I say CPS, I mean all of them, the whole child protection system throughout all 50 states. And all I ask you is you state your name, your city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case, meaning it's a lot easier than playing ping pong ball going back and forth about asking a question at a time than it is for you to complete your whole case where you start from finish to the present where you're at. And then you have your questions there, but it's like you need to tell me how many children are involved, how many fathers or mothers are involved, if you're a grandparent, if you're the mother or the father, and then how your children were abducted, how they were stolen from you. Was there a case of extreme danger for your children through neglect or abuse, or they just arbitrarily take your children no matter what? Did they use police? Did they do things without a warrant? Do you allow them into your home? Those kinds of things. Say what you did, and we can go through it and try to help you. I've been involved since 2010. And in 2015, they took my children. They trafficked my children into foster care. They kidnapped my children. They illegally took them. They weren't in extreme danger. They weren't in extreme danger. So I know how you feel. My daughter, it still hurts me. She's almost 22. She's 21. And at age 12, she was coerced by the social worker. And I mean coerced. These social workers are evil. They're not transparent. They don't care about families. They don't care about mothers or dads or seniors or elder people. They have no respect. They violate your constitutional rights. They violate your civil rights. That's wrong. That's totally, totally wrong. You're entitled to be told why your child is being removed. You're entitled to be treated fairly. You're entitled to family reunification. Not only they protect your children from neglect and abuse, they're also supposed to do family reunification. Why? Because the parents, the biological parents, are the best parents for these children. They are the best parents. Now, another way is to, hello, Amelia Solazad. How can I contact you? Well, I'm going to give you a phone number right now that you can call in. I don't know what city and state you're at, but this is my number, and you can call me at that number, 626 698 0990, between the show hours. That's 10 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time, and I'll talk to you. You'll be live on my speakerphone, and everybody will hear you, and we can help you. You can rest assured that I'll give you my all to try to help you battle CPS. There's no question that's a bad agency. And I appreciate. Can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if you guys are hearing me okay. Can you give me a thumbs up, Familia, Soledad? And I don't know where you're from. Are you from the United States, or are you from a country? The countries that have called in have been Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana from South America. It's east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. Then there's been Mexico, and then Mozambique in Africa. That's on the east side of Africa, above South Africa, below Somalia, across Madagascar. They have contacted us. Also, Liberia on the west coast of Africa, and then Rwanda on the east coast, west of Mozambique, sort of in the center near a big lake in southern Africa, Rwanda. They've contacted us. Also, I've heard from Denmark and Sweden, two European countries. They're close to each other, Denmark, Sweden, and they have talked about their case. All these countries have talked about extreme problems with CPS. It isn't a U.S. thing. It's a worldwide epidemic, because what's happened is that CPS has discovered how to make money. And how they do so is they run an $80 billion business a year. That's right, you heard me, billion. That's more money that they're giving, or just as much money they're giving Ukraine for the war. So it's a bad agency, and the money is not accounted for right now in Richmond, Kentucky. There is the amount of over $900,000. They don't know what they spent it on. They're right now trying to defend where their $900,000 went to. So there's no accountability at the top levels. There's nobody at the state controlling them. Each county does its CPS system, and then the state, they're supposed to register with the state because they're getting the funds. And if they haven't registered the state, then they don't have a case against you. Also, I have some rules. I have 4 rules I can talk about, and that is important to um, to know ahead of time, because if I'd known those rules, I probably would not have lost my children. I probably would have never been through what I've been through. Not only did I lose my children, I lost one of my child. The two boys were brought back, but my girl was lost. The other three are older children grown up, so they weren't a part of this whole nightmare. But CPS was evil. I know firsthand. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at the social workers in Prescott, Arizona. Their DCS, Department of Children's Services, had a group of, I think, a total of 9 social workers and a director, but 8 of these social workers are all women, decided to get pink T-shirts and stents on the front, professional kidnappers, and on the back they put, "Do you know where your children are at?" And that was sickening because they paraded around in Walmart and other department stores, and the public was outraged. They did fire the 8 social workers along with the director and left only one person left. They handle social services. Uh, Child Protection Services is mishandling what they're supposed to be doing. They're not protecting children from neglect and abuse. And they think all families, the children are in extreme danger. They immediately take the children when they should not to. And then they traffic them into foster care. In foster care, the children are not being protected. I mean, I've talked to over 500 people in all the states, and I hear the same story all the time. Um, anyway, Familia, Soledad, I have no idea where you're from, but it'd be nice if you could tell me. Also, there's my phone number. You can call me right now if you want to talk. We can talk about your case. I'm open to that. There. So, um, another way you can interact with this podcast is that you can be a guest on my podcast. You can be a guest on my podcast, and all you have to do is type in. Let me get the to schedule as a guest. All you have to do is email our show producer. Her name is Grace, and you can email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she'd gladly put you on my show. Um, and so all you have to do is email one of my 14 shows. You want to say, I want to be on Bob's Sunday morning show, or Bob's Sunday evening show, or his Friday morning show, or his Friday evening, his Wednesday, so forth. 7 days a week, twice a day, 14 shows. And just email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. Oh. So, I just told you what the caseworkers are. They're bad. They're bad news. There's another social worker this past month that advertised on her Facebook, a social worker in the child protection system, and she put an ad from 1848. That's a long time ago. That's over 100 years ago. 1848 to 1948. So that's 150, 160, 170 years ago. She placed an ad. You know what the ad said? Black children for sale. That's sickening. Why would she put something that was before the Civil War in the year 2024? A current social worker put that on her Facebook. She thought it was funny. Black children, and she's black. Now that's wrong. We should not be selling our children. Social workers should not be selling our children. The Native American Indian children are done the same way. In 1875, when the Indians were forced onto reservations and had to give up their way of life, their culture, their language, how they lived off the land. They were herded in like cows into reservation areas that couldn't sustain anything. The corn couldn't grow. And these are really proud people. And they continued to abuse the Native American Indian children 100 years later by constantly rounding up families that were caught up because of hard times, no money or anything, you can't feed your kids and stuff. So they take the kids and they have them automatically adopted into foster care. There's no chance for refamiliation with Native American Indian children. It wasn't until 1978 when Congress enacted the what was called the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, and where it said that the social workers of CPS must investigate any children that may have Native American blood in them. And they need to ask the parents, are you Indian or do you have any Indian ancestry? And if you do, are you registered? There's 547 federal tribes recognized by the United States government. And of these tribes, you could be a member, either a registered member or could be registered. So they need to contact the tribe on your behalf and ask them if you're registered or could be registered with the tribe. What they do in turn is the Native American Indian tribe takes your children, places them in the Indian family with the purpose of family reunification, not to be adopted to foster care. And that's sad because for so long, for over 100 and so many years, Native American Indian children were treated like cattle and sent off to foster care where they went through all kinds of abuse. Foster care isn't safe what it's supposed to be. And there are a lot of agencies that disguise themselves as better off, and there's so much corruption in the child protection system. And you got to be careful. You're dealing with the worst. You're dealing with the worst. Let me see. We have someone here. Faye, hello. Can you hear me, Faye? Am I coming through all right? Am I loud enough? Am I too close to the screen? My show producer says I was too close to the screen. I had a really hard time this morning starting off, Faye. I was counting on this one place, and I'm trying to chase down car parts before the podcast, and I thought I went to a place that'd be good, but it wasn't good at all. We had a guest scheduled. I don't know who the guest was, and my show producer's taken off, so I don't know. Again, I want to reach out to Familia Soledad. I don't know what city, state, or country you're from, but I'd love to know. And then also, if there's a question I can help you with, I've had the comment up there about how to get on my show as a guest. I'm going to put my phone number back on so people can call in and talk about their case or everything to talk about there. So again, my phone number is 626-698-0990. I'll take your call now. After the hours of my show, I don't take calls on that phone. So if you do call, I try to leave you messages to contact me during my show hours. Oh boy. Yeah, I know, Faye. It was really, I don't understand. It's like everything day. It's a day by day in my life. And oh boy, I get so hungry. It's just hard skipping meals sometimes. You try to save the money for other. I feel like I'm the Dutch boy over in Holland with all my fingers stuck in the dam, and the dam's ready to burst. And I got all my fingers in all the holes, and I don't have any more holes left to fill. But anyway, I do hope that the guest calls back. Who the guest was, I have no idea. I just um, want to help you all because I care. Because being in the child protection system is a nightmare. I really don't know much about it. I've learned so much the 15 years that I've been fighting them. I first heard about them in 2010 when I had lost my job through no fault of my own. I was 65 years old. I had a beautiful family, had a beautiful home, a beautiful life, and I was looking forward to retirement and so forth. But unfortunately, it's very difficult to find work at that age, let alone now. I'm like a dinosaur. And the kind of work I do or familiar with is that no one seems to be interested. Um, so I was constantly spending my 5 years with CPS answering questions every week. We hear you don't have food for your kids. We hear you don't have clothing for your children. We hear your children are in school. We hear that you don't pay the utility bills. We hear that you use excessive corporate punishment on your kids. We hear this, we hear that. And every week I would show them my children. I'd invite them into my home. I had nothing to hide. My home was beautiful. It's immaculate. It wasn't that old. There was always food. It's just that I had cut back my lifestyle to more of a Spartan lifestyle. We didn't go out to eat like we used to all the time. We didn't have Disneyland passes like we had all the time. I mean, they're expensive now. They're like over $2,000 for 1 year for a Disneyland pass. You got 4 children, or you got a household of four. You have $8,000 you got to spend on Disneyland. I didn't have it. If you're not working, I had to save all my money from a mortgage payment. I held onto my house for 7 years till I finally had to sell it. And when I sold it, I didn't get much, and all the money I sold was to hire an attorney. My kids each had their own bedroom, own bathroom. They're upstairs. Their bedrooms were clean. They took showers. They had clothing. They went to school. They went to really high tech schools. I mean, the elementary school was a state of the art elementary school. It had glass walls so you could see the teacher teaching. And it was very professionally done elementary school. And all three of my kids went to that same school nearby. And um, I drove them to school, or my wife would drive them to school. We would pick them up. We did all kinds of social events: the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. We did AYSO soccer. We did all the things that the schools would have: the carnivals, the plays, the events. We were very actively involved in our kids in school. So for them to say all these things was not true. Well, we found out later, and this is the sad part about allegations. Allegations are made by two kinds of individuals. One is a professional who's required by law to report any signs of abuse or neglect. For instance, if a child comes to school and a teacher sees a child with black eyes and cuts and wounds, she's going to talk to the child and find out a little bit. And then if she feels suspected abuse by a parent, she's going to call CPS. They're going to investigate within 24 hours, and they will take your child away from the parent that did all that, if that was true. So those are professionals: school teachers, counselors, principals, nurses, doctors, policemen. They're required by law to report neglect and abuse. The other kind of person makes allegations are the layperson. These people are like, neighbors, friends, your cousins, your relatives, people in the family and those kinds of things. They're the ones that are going to do it. And unfortunately, a lot of them are made false. Like in my case, I did not know that my in-laws were constantly calling every week to fabricate something because they're interested in taking our children. They want to see us lose our children. Not only to lose my home, do they offer any help there? No. In fact, they weren't ever. I mean, I've been married to my wife for 32 years and they didn't come to our wedding. They didn't support of anything. And we encouraged our kids to visit their grandparents too. So we flew them out and so forth. And I had a really great job. And We did a lot of traveling, went to a lot of different countries every year. And so, we were a loving, caring family. What CPS did is they destroyed our family. They had it so bad that I lost my job, that my credit turned bad because of them. Not only did they did everything they could think of to undermine a family and not do the family reunification. They just didn't care about the family. They they only cared about how much bonuses. Our social worker was so bad. A very young girl, had no college degree, had no experience as a social worker, and all she talked about was her bonuses that she got so that she can get Gucci purse every her Gucci purse every week, her accessories, her makeup, her BMW car, everything. So sad to say is that I had the worst social worker you could ever can imagine. She didn't mentor anybody. She had no license. There's a lot of difference. Now, in Richmond, Kentucky, you have uh, a social worker who must have a college degree in social works, and they have to have a license. So they have some attempt in Kentucky, but those social workers are bad too. Faye would tell you how bad they are. They were, for instance, if you're involved in foster care like Faye was, at 5 times in her life growing up, she grew up in foster care. She was abused, molested, raped, and so forth. And, it was bad. And then they kept her file on. And as soon as she started having kids, they took away her daughter that shouldn't have been taken away and their son. And she's still fighting her son. He's a special needs son. And she's trying to take care of him and adopt him and so forth as a guardian because he needs help. I mean, he can't do it without someone professionally helping him. So that she's dogged by the Kentucky police. She sent me videos that's so gross how the police and social workers manipulate parents and put parents down and do things that are so illegal. They get away with murder, these social workers do. And it's got to stop. I'm talking firsthand, and I'm pretty sure my listeners are talking from firsthand. And it's really, really sad there. Again, Familia, Soledad, I don't know where you're from. I don't know if you're from another country, but you can just say the country if you don't have to name the city and stuff. And I'm so glad to have Faye listening there too, and the rest of you too. I appreciate the warm hearts and the emojis you give me and the thumbs up. That's really nice that people care because it's a hard thing to do this, to talk about your case over and over, to share your story over and over. And I've been doing this since October, so that's a long time. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 9 months. And each time I try to do a better podcast than the last. So we've been talking here about how bad social workers are. There's no, I mean, a third example. I've talked about the pink ladies. I've talked about the lady from Chicago, Illinois that ran the Black Children for Sale ad of 1848. I'm talking about my case. My social worker retaliated, and she forced got her daughter to divorce us as parents, divorce her brother, divorce her grandparents, divorce the other relatives. So she divorced. She sealed her birth certificate that she was never born by us, never existed, and everything. And then she's changed her name, not only her first name, but her middle name, and of course, last name. And she got adopted by the family that she takes the name with. Of course, that family and her have parted ways because they abused her. They abused her. She was set down the path and she was abused. Now, how was she protected? She wasn't protected by the system. Her parents never abused her. Her parents never treated her bad. All I can say is her parents still love her. I still love her today. We encourage her brothers, even though she's divorced from them, to see her and to participate. And, you know, it is hard. It is so hard. It's hard to hear and talk about when your children are taken away. That's something that people just, I guess somehow they don't have a soul. They do this heartless. That's what social workers are. They're very heartless. They don't care. They really don't care. They steal your children and then they have them adopted by strangers, by people that I don't know where they come up with these people. It's really sad. My three boys weren't taken, or my two boys and girl were not taken until 2015, 5 years after I was constantly harassed by the child protection system here in California. I'm from the Orange County area of California, and it's a really bad child protection system there. They call theirs the Child Protection Services, and they're very corrupt from the director all the way down. I had gone to the director, and he worked out of a place that looked like the Taj Mahal of India. It was so rich, so luxury. It's also looks like the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz. And the guy in charge of it was so loaded down with gold. I felt like offering him, "Do you need some crutches to support yourself so you don't fall over?" All the meetings and all the talks went one ear, went out the other ear. His managers were no good. It was terrible. What they were doing were violating our constitutional rights. And that leads me into rule number one, which is you must get an attorney. And I did get an attorney. But I wish I'd done it right off the bat. I didn't do it till later on. That's one thing, you need to have an attorney. And of course, I didn't know about CPS until I was down. See, they always attack people that are down and out. CPS feeds on people that are down and out. They've had a hard time. They've lost a job. They may be homeless. I've been there. I've been doing all those things in there. So I've had a very nice job. I've had very nice homes. I've been fortunate to travel the world and meet a lot of nice people. But right now, I'm in the worst time of my life. And it's sad because I'm a dinosaur, yes. I'm 74 years old. I'll be 75 in this November. I don't feel it. I don't act it. And luckily, my wife is 15 years younger. And our children are beautiful. As I say, we have 6 children, and even though our daughter is estranged from us, she's still our daughter. You can't take away, you know, raising a daughter. You can't take it away. When I had to deal with the Orange County, the court system, the judge was corrupt. His experience in dependency court was collision claims and car accidents. He had nothing to do with children neglect or abuse or family unification. It was terrible. It was terrible. So, this is election year. You need to vote your judges, and you need to have good judges in dependency court, judges that know the law, that are family orientated, and that do believe in family unification. That's the whole key. We need to get the family back together. And you may have had a hiccup. Maybe you did drugs, or maybe you took them to a party where there was drugs. Um, Sometimes we make bad choices, but we're not bad parents. We just need to take corrective measures, and they come along there. I have a new person in the room named Tabitha Watkins. All right, glad to meet you there. Okay, I have a caller from area code 773. Welcome.
In regards to my case.
Okay.
So it was continued to July 13th. I'm not 13th. I'm sorry, the 12th. They're going to give more time so some expert witness could testify on my behalf. Now, I just want to mention that with my case with Iowa, they only had one witness, which was the DHS worker and myself. They have no other evidence against me or no other parties they called to testify against me.
Question for you. What city and state are you from?
I'm currently in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay,
And,
you're the...
as I mentioned, I moved here, but my case is based out in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm the woman with the 3 children. I've been fighting them for 2.5 years for my children. And I'm in the phase of termination of parental rights hearing. I notified HHS about me and my children having Native American blood heritage, so I had to submit some names of my grandparents, their parents, and things of that nature, and we're trying to see if one of the tribes could try to intervene. If that could happen, my attorney said they cannot terminate my rights.
Well, no. In fact, they would turn over your kids to the tribe, and the tribe would put them with an Indian family and help with your family unification.
Yeah, so I submitted those names today. I just have to give my great-grandmother's information, and then I'll have all of that. But one thing I wanted to say, Bob, was the judge. She's going to try to sit here and say that I cannot include videos from me prior with my children before the date of January 18, 2020.
What does your attorney
I
say?
said, no, that's incorrect because you're trying to violate my Sixth Amendment rights. I could put any type of video if it shows me being a mother to my children. It could be at any phase, any point. It doesn't matter. It shows my interaction with my children. You cannot try to take away from my Sixth Amendment right in regards to what evidence I want to submit.
What does your attorney say?
I told her, I said, why don't you try to recluse the judge? I don't want to lose my license. I said, okay, well.
Is this attorney a court-appointed attorney or professional dependency?
It's a court-appointed attorney.
Well, there's your mistake, number one, because you're going to get nowhere with a court-appointed attorney. In dependency law, court-appointed attorneys are a waste of time. They will not fight. They do not know anything about dependency law, and they have a client base of 30 or more clients. They don't have time for your case. And
I had to get one that was appointed.
Well, you don't have to get one.
I can't afford one.
I know you can't afford one. That is the problem because most people don't, and I cannot guarantee that you get a fair case because they will not fight. It's like right now, he's worried about his license. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to show videos of you being with your children. There's nothing in the law that says that. The problem being is that you got a judge and you got the social worker attorneys, the children attorneys are all work against you.
But the thing is the whole fact that the judge, right, I believe that I can prove bias because she used to be, hold on, I'm sorry, the dog's barking. Let me go. The judge or whatever, she used to be, I'm not going to back him in the yard. The judge, she used to be a guardian ad litem for like 15 to 25 years.
Okay.
So I'm like, you could potentially know everybody on this case. And you used to be a part of the guardian ad litem. You had your own law firm. That's how you worked your way up to being a judge. And I think for that reason, she should preside over my case because, I don't know if she knows that. I'm pretty sure she do know that. I'm pretty sure she knows who the guardian ad litem is over this case, which is my children's attorney. I'm pretty sure they know each other. They probably have breakfast a couple of times. Who knows?
Well, the guardian ad litem is all they are is ears for social services. Again, they're not a person you want to rely heavily or talk to. They're supposed to be given to help with what's going on in the case, but instead they're listening ears.
Used to be a part of the guardian ad litem for 25 years, and the current guardian Marty Malita, she could potentially know her because she worked in that area.
Yeah, but you can't trust them.
Just
You
like
can't
the
trust
last
them.
judge, she used to be assistant. What is it? The prosecutor, assistant attorney for the court, the one that retired. So I think that my case has been like extremely discriminated upon because I never once beat those kids. They alleged I did that. I did not. I never put my hands on my kids. That's no reason for you to still have them. You know, it's been going on for too long. You know.
What was the allegations?
Almost 6 months.
What were the allegations?
The allegations was that I beat my kids with a belt. The foster parent.
Okay, so you're doing what's called your abuse, and it's excessive corporal punishment. Okay, and did you use a belt to discipline your kids? There's nothing wrong with doing that. But
I never hit my kids.
Okay. So how do
They
you?
alleged that I hit my kids. They claimed that they had old scars on their bodies. I said, look, my children used to scratch and fight one another. Now,
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did not beat my kids. I was incarcerated while this happened when they talked to my children. They had my daughter was 3 years old at the time. My son was 2. They talked to them and coerced them to say I beat them with a belt. But that never happened.
Well, the problem is you have a stigma right now. Social workers don't like incarcerated parents.
I beat the case. I beat those charges from Wisconsin.
Okay, but I understand that, but there's still the stigma that the social workers will use against you because of your allegation of whatever that they accuse you of. You still have to fight that.
And I've been fighting that. I've done everything. I've done the parenting classes. I've done everything they asked me to do. But so they said as far as the expert witnesses, they were going to have them to testify on the video, and they was going to question them and have the judge to watch it. I never heard of nothing like that taking place. Now I get this is a civil case, and they have their own rules, but that didn't really make sense to me. Why would the judge watch a pre-recorded video of them questioning these expert witnesses?
Well, then they are taking advantage of you because one, you're being defended by a public defender who, is worthless. You're better almost a pro se than you are with a public defender. Pro se is when you defend yourself.
I've done that.
But
the pro se route.
Yeah. Have you tried to talk to Mr. Davis?
He wanted $80,000. That's something I don't have.
Well, I didn't mean to be retained by Vincent Davis, but he offers a consultation for 30 minutes for $60, $2 a minute, that he'll talk about how to navigate and how to get your kids back. He'll give you some strong insights, and it's well worth the 30 minutes you spend with him. You may not be able to hire him with that kind of sizable retainer, but at least you can talk to him, and he will.
Well, you know what? I've been trying to get in contact with the lady that's over the DHS office because they steady deny my visit with my children.
Are you talking the one in Illinois at the state level?
The state representative, she didn't want to help me with my case. I did reach out to her.
Well, I meant, was that the civil rights? Was that the civil rights coordinator? Did you try to get? Yeah. Did you try to get the civil rights coordinator at the state level?
I don't know the civil rights coordinator at the state level. I don't know who that is.
Hold on, I'll get it for you.
For Illinois.
I'll get it for you.
I thought y'all was coming in. Layla, what you doing? Is Layla in there? Layla. Okay. because I don't stop money and all that.
Where are the kids right now? Who are they with?
Foster parents.
Okay. Are they being abused?
I don't know because I haven't seen my children since January 17th.
Why did they
That's what I'm
stop the
saying.
visitations? Why did they stop the visitations?
Every time I book a visit with my children, they cancel it. Like I was on the way to see them April 30th, they cancel it. Other times they cancel it. They keep doing this. I done already complained to the social work administrator and everything, and it's just not getting nowhere.
Yeah.
So my attorney had to put in a motion to try to have the court demand them to give me an in-person visit with my children because they were trying to have me set up for a virtual 15-minute visit. I'm like, no, I want to see my kids in person. I need to know they safe.
And they don't do that even with supervised?
They do it super fast. They just been BS to me. Meaning, every time we book a date, they cancel it that same day when I be on the highway. And I'm not that far from my children. I'm only 2 hours and 30 minutes away from them. However, or 2 hours out. But I don't know. They full of it. The Department of Human Services.
Now, the person you want to speak to in Illinois, it's called the Department of Children Family Services. And the woman in charge is Heidi Mueller, Mueller. And she...
They not going to...
Well...
Because if it's with the Department of Children and Family Services, they're not going to let do nothing because my case is not in Illinois, although I live here.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought you said, okay, I'm looking at... You're in what... I forgot. What city was it? What state? It was Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah.
DES, MONIES.
Okay.
It's their
Iowa,
capital.
Des Moines. Okay, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong spot. I'm sorry.
And I think the only thing they have out there is the ensemble, and they told me that I have to wait till a decision is made on this case before they even willing to help out.
Yeah, the ombuds person is a waste of time too. I know. I'm sorry to tell you that because they're like the guardian of lightning. It's crazy. Okay. There is a website in Iowa called the Health and Human Services, and there's a section called the Child Protection Services, and it's ensure that children in Iowa are safe and families have support in place to keep their children's safety at home when possible.
You say the DHS website, that's what you were saying?
The Child Protection Services, the Iowa, it's called the Iowa .government/program CPS.
The Child Protection
Services, yeah, the program. It's called the Iowa.government/program/CPS. And they have a section called the Child Protection Services. And they talk about, I'm trying to think. They talk about the reporting and how they try to, if the kids can't stay with the parents, how they try to put them in next of kin prior to putting them in foster home. Now, I don't know if they did that or not. They're also supposed to support family to meet their goals. They're called Family Center Service, FCS. And so supposedly a team of people help develop.
Now.
the policy.
The
Well,
DHS worker fired them.
they
And
have,
she put herself over
yeah.
making sure that
They say family
she has not
first.
been.
They say family first. They have the thing called the First Preventive Service Act, simply referred to as Family First, is a federal legislation which restructures how the federal government spends money on child welfare. Um, I don't necessarily want to read this word for word verbatim, but I'm trying to say there's a lot on here that can help you. They have a thing called a safe haven, safe care, foster care and adoption, child family service plan, families review, decategorization, interstate compact on juveniles, child protection service data reports, suspected abuse and neglect reports, policy update. And they have a 24-hour number. So if a child's in danger, they call that number, and then these people supposedly come out there. You really need to spend some time here.
That's the thing, though. We had a reasonable hearing.
So
And the judge, like the prior judge, said that DHS has done everything that they can under this fund. They have not. The people never helped me with housing. They never helped me with half the things that were stated on that paper. The only thing they did was pay for my psychological evaluation. And they paid for my psychological evaluation. They did provide an FCS worker at one period of time, but that's as far as it went. They were so petty. They were supposed to help me out with gas cards back and forth when I were traveling to see my children. They never gave me a gas card in the whole 2 years. I provided the gas, the food, everything when it came to my kids in these visitations.
well, have you talked to Kelly Garcia, who's the director of the Iowa department?
I try to reach out to her. Every time I call her office, I get nowhere.
Well, you may have to send her an email. You may have to send her an email.
I did send her an email. She hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Well, you may have to go to the news media and tell them what you're coming. They have a thing called here the newsroom. And
I called the news media in both Chicago and Iowa. No one wanted to hear my case.
have you talked about a senator or a representative in Iowa that would talk to you?
I reached out to some people and they said they were going to pass on the information. I never heard nothing back from them.
Well, I found out that the most unpleasant thing that people hate is people that keep calling and badgering them. That's sometimes you got to do that. If you have to call them every day, or you just keep trying to find new people, there'll be someone that will listen to you. There will be someone that listens to you. You can, call the news media out there and talk to them. You need to tell them how you're being mistreated and not able to see your children, and that it is.
Well, I'm going to continue to work on doing that. I was just giving you an update of my case.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did, but
so as I stated, we do have one more court date. It might get continued to another day, but I'm not sure.
yeah.
So I'll definitely let you know how it turned out.
Well, you definitely, if you're not getting anywhere at the local level, you're going to have to go sometimes. As I say, you may have to spend 40 hours on this.
To go to the federal level, I've tried to do that.
Well, the federal level, you're not going to get anywhere because the federal level is your Congress. It's the third part of the U.S. government. You got your legislative, you got your executive, and you got your judiciary. So the legislative branch you want to go to, and that's your Congress. And that's where they make the rules and changes to CPS. And it's sad because you have to go, like do a rally at Des Moines, Iowa, at the Capitol to bring it to light. You need to get people aboard, and it's a miserable experience because not only you have to fight about your case, you have to make noise. You have to make noise.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you're certainly right. I'm gonna keep on fighting for my children. I'm never gonna give up, and I'll keep you posted and let you know what happens after the next.
well, okay. Here's a section that's kind of nice. This is how to fight Department of Health Services in Iowa, and what Department of Health Service can do and cannot do. Um, what CPS can legally do is connect you with valuable resources, meet with your child without, let me see here. This is dated August of 2021. It's old. The law office of Johnson & Johnson. And it tells you what they can do. Mandated reporters must report any suspected child abuse. If they don't, they can be held legally responsible to neglect and share what they know. Doctors, lawyers, and therapists. CPS must investigate every substantial report. However, not all reports are substantiated exist enough to warrant an investigation. CPS workers are entitled to meet with your kids without receiving your permission, without you present. That's sad. Iowa allows that. It's common for CPS to speak with the child before speaking to you. This is done so that the guilty parents don't have the opportunity to coach or threaten their kids. Well, that's not also true. That works both ways. In California, social workers, no one can talk to your kids unless they're on their permission list. When you sign up your kids for first day of school, there's a card you fill out who can talk to your kids. I don't know in Iowa if they do that or not. In California, they do. You have to fill out who they can, their name and phone number. Otherwise, they can't have CPS talk to your kids first. It's supposed to protect you. Also,
But they did, and they did not do a proper investigation.
I agree.
They called me.
Yeah.
They did not do an investigation of the suspected child abuse.
Yeah. Well, they're going to use.
They called me and said they had got a report, and I said, well, I never beat my kids. I do have an attorney. I do have an open custody hearing. If you want, we could call you back and we could talk about it then. But no, I still have my apartment out in Iowa. She never dropped out my home to visit me, nothing like that. I was supposed to get a thorough investigation done. Not just one phone call to hang up and say, oh, it's been found. It's how. You didn't investigate nothing.
Well, here's the problem is you're dealing with an agency, and I'm reading right from their things. They can demand that you follow a plan. CPS may demand that you follow a safety or service plan. These aren't typically court ordered, which means they cannot truly be enforced. But if you choose not to follow the plan, CPS can tell the court that you are uncooperative. They also say anything you say can be used against you. Be careful what you say to CPS because they can and will use things against you. And so that is really sad too. CPS has the right to legally remove your kids from your home under particular circumstances. They must have a court order or be able to prove that your child's in imminent danger. Now, if your child's not being beaten up or hurt, they're not in imminent danger. So they can't take your child from you. And now, imminent danger includes physical harm, sexual conduct, neglect, and firearms left out in the open. So if you have a loaded gun out in the open with children around, then
that's why they get this whole allegations of claiming I beat my kids with a belt, and it never happened.
Yeah.
So that they could take the kids. It was all a setup from the beginning.
Well, they can terminate your parental rights. It's a lengthy and complex process, but it is possible. Now, this is what CPS cannot do legally. They cannot force their way into your home. To legally enter your home, CPS needs a court order. or the belief that your child's in imminent danger. They can't provide you with a drug test without your consent. They cannot do that. CPS must have a court order to force you into taking a drug test. Now, a lot of this information is posted by a law firm, the law offices of Johnson and Johnson. So, talk to Mr. Davis. I really strongly recommend that $60 is that what you should do, because you guys spend a lot of time on the internet. I know it's really hard and stuff. So, how to fight department. Okay. Your HHS worker, your worker will be able to do your questions. There's legal Iowa aid. I don't know if that'd be any good with you or not. I have the phone number, but
they don't. Not with China cases. They don't help out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'll try to look into talking to him, or I'm just gonna let stuff play out how
well,
if
I
I gotta file a appeal just to get my kids back, so be it, I'll do it.
Well, yeah, that's sometimes you have to eat crow, but there's a lot of information you can read here. What can I do to get my child back? The state has my child. What can I do? And here's a whole brochure. The state has my child. What can I do? How do the state take my child? How can I get my child back? How can I see my child? Will I have to go to court? Do I need a lawyer? What are they asking about my children's parents? What is case permanency plan? What if I can't talk if I have a problem? What if I can't take my child back? Can they take my child away forever? Parents' rights, responsibilities. So here is a 12-page book that someone's prepared for Iowa. And it's really informative. Again, I found this at iowa.gov/media/6471. There is a lot of information in Iowa that can help you out. And it's hard to spend all that time on the internet. But the internet will be your success in getting your children back. More so than attorney, because there's so much information on there. There's a thing called the assessment process in Iowa. Iowa laws provide for a child to be placed in protective custody in various situations. DHS does not have a statutory authority to simply remove a child from. Things to remember when talking to DHS in Iowa. Termination of parent rights in Iowa. What happens when you ignore DHS in Iowa? Children Protection Services in Iowa. Children Needed Assistance, Des Moines, IA Children Abuse. Iowa DHS is a broken system, leans heavily towards. There's bad things, about them. The CPS parental rights. Ask a child rights attorney. Get a lawyer help. Pro bono CPS lawyer information. There's pages and pages of Google searches on CPS in Iowa. And that's my rule number 4 is I tell people you need to research the internet because your answers are right there in front of you. You just got to spend time there. So I had typed in my rights against DHS in Iowa. And that's where I got all this information.
Yeah, I've read up on that information that you talked about. I've done that when I was looking, into if I may have to potentially appeal this
Right.
case. I could have appealed it, but my attorney didn't, so they did not pass. However, I can still appeal it to the committee, which is 7 judges that are over. Judges.
Right.
Either way, I can file a and they can investigate it.
I got to end the show because my time's run way over. Thank you very much for calling in. And this is Bob Pace signing off. God bless you all, and I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock.